January 15th, 2025 board meeting to order. I'll ask that each commissioner please respond with a here when I call out their name. Commissioner Doan.
Here.
Commissioner Duggan.
Here.
Commissioner Lysick.
Here.
Commissioner Sanders.
Here.
We'll now hear reports by the CEO and management staff.
Well, good evening, President Fisher and commissioners. Tonight, I think we have a relatively short board meeting, so we'll try to power through this fairly quickly. I wanted to remind you that the SDO conference is upcoming. It will be in Bend this year. The conference features specific training for both the board and for staff. So we always go to the conference and learn quite a bit. The pre-conference sessions are February 6th. The conference will be held on the 7th through the 9th. Commissioner Fisher has agreed to be TVWD's voting representative during the business meeting. That's one of the items that we do at the conferences as a member of SDO. I want to give you an update on our customer assistance program. You may recall that was put into effect November 1st. Currently, we have 277 enrolled customers. We started our outreach program last month. I'll talk a little bit about that. But the outreach consists of postcards, emails, and letters sent to customers. Customers would be notified in 4 groups. And we did that to ensure quality service, so we didn't get overwhelmed. Send out enough to get a response, but we'll be able to process those responses and not have people waiting. The last outreach letters are expected to arrive in customers' mail on February 4th. Just show you here on the right is some of the information that's being provided in the postcard to our customers. Here's the schedule of each of the groups. So the postcards and emails, the first group went out December 30th. And in fact, the letters are scheduled to arrive at their homes yesterday on the 14th. As we go through the entire process, 1 week apart, we expect to be completely through with the letters arriving in people's mailbox by February 4th. So we're excited about the enhanced outreach on the customer assistance program. Yes,
So Paul, what determined if someone got a letter versus a postcard?
we have both.
Oh, they got both.
Yes, yeah. And they're coming to, yes.
So
And we have to have Andrew help me out on some of these questions.
I asked Andrew last work session about a number for the number of people impacted by, well, changes in some of the
Penalty forgiveness.
penalty forgiveness. Was that 244 the number?
The number.
Bummer. But we were done. Yeah.
The 277, you mean?
77. Yeah.
No, these are the number of customers that we've actually got enrolled through community action into our customer assistance program. Any other questions on the customer assistance program? Obviously, we're excited to see the program roll out now. It's been a long time in the making. Put this in the Thursday memo, but wanted to highlight it yet again, all the issues going on in Southern California related to fire safety. But one of our roles here at the district is make sure that our first responders have water to fight fire for our community. And we partnered with Tarleton Valley Fire and Rescue to provide them near real-time status on our fire hydrants. We shared the information through our GIS system, shows up on their new mapping system, so that as they arrive at a scene, the crews have more situational awareness and actually can start preparing to serve the community from that perspective. Here's a quote that we received from Tarleton Valley Fire and Rescue. I won't read it, but this is from their spokesman, our spokesperson, I should say, about the importance of the partnership that we have. This is just another way that we can serve our community and keep them safe from fire. So we're excited about that as well. We have our upcoming Talking Water. We're going to talk about mains replacement. Our next virtual forum on Talking Water will be held on February 12th from 12 to 1 p.m. And again, the topic will be our water mains replacement program. The link to join the presentation is on the district's website. Don't need to do anything other than go to the website to access the link. And of course, all commissioners are welcome to join that Talking Water. With that, our communications director, Justin Dyke, will present tonight's director's report.
Good evening, commissioners. So most of the time when I speak with you, we talk about water supply integration communications. It's our number one project is communications division. And with our prep for the ongoing or the upcoming campaign for integration, we've also been doing some work to prepare what we call some pre-integration comms work. So I want to step away from the actual campaign a bit tonight with my report and talk to you about a couple of things we've been doing that customers are already seeing and experiencing on behalf of the district through our communications division that are really ongoing now, and they're helping us get our ducks in a row for the campaign once it's ready to hit the road. So as we get ready for the big launch, we've got 3 big initiatives for pre-WSI campaign that I was going to talk to you about tonight. Number 1, we have TVWD News. It's a newsletter that has replaced the WaterWords newsletter that we used to share with our colleagues at Clean Water Services. We've got TVWD.org going through a significant amount of improvements for customer experience and customer content. And we're doing an ongoing paid social media campaign through the Meta products. So I'll cover each of these, and each of these things are, like I said, things that our customers are already seeing, experiencing, and engaging with the district, and they will be crucial as we get into integration and communication efforts. So TVWD News is a fully digital standalone quarterly newsletter. It replaced WaterWords. WaterWords was a great asset for a very long time for the district, but because it was a shared asset with our partners at Clean Water Services, it did limit our abilities editorially to cover content that would be most applicative to our customers, and especially going into a time of major projects like an integration or other key district strategic initiatives in the future. So we are doing now, we've done our first edition. We sent it to about 49,000 customers. That is everyone in our database who's got an email address, whether they receive a digital bill or they've updated their account with TVWD and they've inserted an email address. 54% of those customers opened that newsletter. As a comparison standard, industry best practice is anything greater than 35.5% open rates, especially if you're not trying to sell a product, you're not doing a product marketing effort or drip marketing. So being a more than 35.5%, we're at 54. We're really pleased with that. The district typically enjoys a high engagement rate via email marketing efforts or other email communications to our customers. So we're grateful for that. But also, we enjoyed a 0.18% unsubscribe rate, which tells us that the content was very much appreciated by our customers. They did not deem it something they would not want to receive again in the future. So that's really encouraging for us. The one thing I was going to call out amongst the articles presented to our customers in October of last year, cold weather preparation, seasonal, timely, it was the most viewed article. I bolded that here because that theme will reoccur in a couple slides. This is an item of content we might have downplayed in the past. We didn't think our customers would be that interested in it. We have been happy to learn our customers are very interested in some of the cold weather and emergency preparation content. We are currently writing, or I should say, we met yesterday as a team to figure out our editorial schedule for a February 10th edition for Q1 of this year. We'll be getting the content drafted and written in the next couple of weeks and formatted. You can look for it. Our goal delivery date is February 10th for the next newsletter. So TVWD.org has been going through a lot of improvements lately, not only organizationally, we've been redoing our menus, redoing the way the content flows on the website. We've been trying to reduce duplicative content and streamline the customer experience so these customers come to the website. If they're the type of customer that wants to pay their bill and immediately leave, that's fine. But if you're a customer who wants to come around and stick into the website, that's what we want. Engage our customers and have them go through a more direct path to information and have a better user experience. We're also going through a lot of content improvements and editorial cycles. We've started recently with 2 divisions, water quality and customer service, mostly because our customers come to their website to pay their bill and learn about their water quality. The data we see for the website are those are 2 highest sought after categories. So we're able to improve the customer experience, and we're looking to now reinvigorate the content and give customers an easier access way to find what they're looking for. And also, we have an AI chatbot now. It is awesome. It takes about 3 months for it to be fully trained and programmed. We're about halfway through that. We're still finding some sticking points here and there. One of the best things about it is it will tell us what questions it's struggling to answer, and we can see a full report of the type of questions our customers are using it for. And we're able to figure out what content is either not clear on the website, not well written, or just missing. And we're able to update the website, have the bot recrawl all the content, and then be useful immediately. One of the better aspects of this bot is also for water quality. We've done a whole overhaul of our water quality FAQs, re-implemented that content, and now we've encouraged our customer service team that if they have a call about water quality, they're able to use the bot to ask it the question faster than they can actually scroll through the website and find the answer themselves. And they're able to provide the customer with a quicker, more accurate experience answering questions that they might not be necessarily familiar with. This is, again, something as we get towards integration, we hope alleviates a lot of the overload that we would expect or the burden on our customer service team as they get questions about integration and water quality, things that are outside of the normal question for a lot of our team. And our social media campaign. So we're on Meta right now, the paid campaign that is the Facebook and Instagram programs. We have ads targeting 3 categories: emergency prep, water quality, and commitment to service. When left equally in the Meta universe, emergency preparedness is the most popular content by a mile. Our customers are engaging and viewing this content considerably higher rates than the other 2 categories, to the point where we actually paused that ad campaign suite and only ran water quality and commitment to service for about a month and a half to try and get more eyeballs on that content, because it is valuable content. We want our customers to know about our commitments to water quality and our commitments to the community we serve. We will finish the campaign in the next month, maybe 6 weeks here. We will probably unleash emergency preparedness again, let them run equally. But this has been an incredibly valuable learning experience for us at the district, especially again, as we get into integration. We will do a similar ad campaign through the Meta products again. And this has given us a lot of insight and learning on how these campaigns can work, how they can be manipulated. They can be manipulated either for views and follows or click-through experience to the website. So it's a lot going on. A little bit of data. So we've been running this campaign since October. We're now at 882,000 unique views and 2,777,000 impressions. Gives us a frequency of views across our audience of about 3.15. We are really happy with that frequency rating, because right now we were calling thought impressions. We're trying to get customers to learn about the district and engage with the district. We're not asking them to do anything or perform any steps right now. You're about to ask what that means, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm completely unfamiliar with those metrics, so I don't know if that.
So it's if the way this works is we've taken the district's entire, what you would recognize as the district shape file, and we've been able to use our GIS team to target select addresses around the district with a 1-mile buffer to recreate the shape of the district. This is us playing within the bounds of what Meta lets you input, because our shape file as a district does not match any other common boundaries like zip codes, cities, or counties. So we have to be a little more strategic in how we set up our shape. That way we don't have our ads, or we can limit our ads appearing outside the district as much as possible. So our ad campaign is working as much as possible with inside the boundary of a recreated district shapefile. It limits that to then only users whose account is set up as that location base. And it will run those ads, and the frequency is how often the average user who's engaging with the ads, how often are they seeing the ad? So you might log in on Facebook tonight and see the ad, and you might not see it again for a week, and then it'll appear in your stream again. These are all Facebook and Instagram's backend algorithms that often get talked about as far as people you can click like on an ad, you will see more ads like it. If you click like on our water quality ad, you will see other ads either related to public service or water or other similar topics. My personal streams are full of hockey. I'm a big hockey fan. I click like every time I see something from the NHL. Boom, 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 because I want to manipulate the algorithm so that I don't see other things that I'm not interested in. So as your frequency rating can go up, it's typically, you're finding a balance here between oversaturation of your content with people so they begin to see past it or not be as willing to engage with it, but you need a certain saturation point so that your message is being received by your customers. So we're finding right now this 3.15 is a nice sweet spot for saturation of this messaging, because we're not asking the customers to take a performative action. We would like them to click through our website, but compared to what we'll do at integration, where we'll be much more interested in people leaving the ad campaign and landing on our website so they can learn about integration and learn how about it will affect them immediately at their home. That's a much more critical step. So we will try and increase the frequency rating and increase the click-through. This click-through at 4,000, it's a little on the low side, but we didn't have a ton of call to action to prompt people to click through. It's more so people who are truly deeply interested in engaging with the content will click through. So this is an exercise in us, which is really important in learning how to manipulate the campaign in the digital environment to achieve the goals that we want it to. And these are all lessons that we can learn and directly apply to the next campaign for integration. And speaking of it, campaign efforts are likely to begin the second half of March. They will ramp up pretty quickly through April, all the way through June, and stay at a high rating. We will be putting out content about integration very, very frequently from June through the end of 25 and into 2026. It's almost going to be that time. As we get into really needing to talk with our customers about integration and present that content. The campaign plan is complete, and collateral items, individual collateral items are in for review at the staff and leadership levels. And I plan on coming back and speaking with you again in April. That's when we'll have a little bit more information on some of the campaign early feedback in March on the digital environment. And as well, excuse me, I'll be able to bring some print samples of actual collateral pieces that will be mailed or distributed to your constituents in the community so that you're fully aware of what everything looks like. And we can talk about schedule of use of all those pieces. That's it for me. Are there any questions?
If I can just add real quick, I've often thought that opinions based on fact are more valuable than facts based on opinion. And what Justin has been doing, his team, is gathering facts that we can use as part of this campaign. So we're actually being informed. I see Commissioner Sanders is trying to run this through.
That's a good one, though. I like it.
You like it? Yeah. Opinions based on fact are better than facts based on opinions. So in any event, that's really an important part of what he's doing is all this research to maximize the benefit for our customers. So it's very impressive. With that, that concludes the CEO Management Staff Report for tonight.
I will now move on to Commissioner Communications and a few reports on meetings attended. So we'll start with Commissioner Doan.
As always. Okay, I had attended the work session and then tonight's meeting.
On the 19th of December, which was the day after our last regular meeting, I had attended the Oregon Legal Conservation Voters Town Hall with Senator Wyden, where he talked about potential environmental issues such as climate change and spoke at great length about protection of the Waihe Canyon lands in Eastern Oregon. And he's been working and shepherding legislation through to protect that scenic area and working with Representative Cliff Bentz, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, who is the representative to Congress from Eastern Oregon, to try to get a compromise to get the areas protected that need to be protected while preserving local access and various needs of the people on the eastern side of the Cascades. On the 6th of January, I attended a meeting with Paul, where we had a virtual meeting where I received updates and we talked about our various local contracts. On the 7th, I attended our board work session. On the 8th, I attended the Regional Water Providers Consortium Technical Committee. And the reason I attended that meeting is that their regular executive committee meeting, which I normally would attend, is occurring as we speak. So I had a conflict there. So rather than having to rely totally on staff, I thought that I'd listen in on the various staffs of the providers that were there at the meeting. And probably the most important thing I need to share with you is that City of Portland is having a number of budget issues. However, they expect that the consortium dues increase for the next fiscal year will probably be about 4%. And that includes some new programs, but they're rejuggling the numbers to try to keep the dues increase to under 4% for the next fiscal year. And then tonight's meeting. Standards.
We had the agenda planning meeting, that's what we call it, the agenda planning meeting. Then we had the board work session. Then I met with Clark to go over some learning about water rights. Just still am contemplating because I'll never, Clark's brilliant though. I'll just go on, is this thing on record?
He's online.
It's not mine? Oh, well, then maybe I don't want to. I mean, holy moly. After an hour listening to him talk, that was amazing. His knowledge of Oregon water law is invaluable to TVWD. And it was invaluable to me. And then I met with Paul earlier this week, I believe. Is that right? It's only Wednesday, so it had to be this week. And then tonight's meeting.
Commissioner Lysak.
I had the work session, meeting with Paul on the 13th, and then tonight's meeting.
As for myself, I also attended the OLCB town hall, virtual town hall with Senator Wyden, and I was delighted to hear my friend Mark Rogers was one of the first people to get to ask a question. He works with a group called Trout Unlimited, which is near and dear to my heart. Then on the 2nd, I had the agenda planning meeting. On the 6th, I attended a Tiger Chamber of Commerce reception where we met the newly elected Tiger City councilors. So it's good to meet some of our new partners. On the 7th, I attended our work session. On the 9th, I attended a Zoom meeting with Speaker Fahey, Majority Leader Bowman, and Majority Leader Jama from the Senate to hear about legislative updates and what the legislative leadership was hoping to get from the session or get through the session. 14th, I had my bi-monthly check-in with Paul, and then I also attended the West Side Economic Alliance legislative reception, where we heard updates on workforce development, transportation, education, and healthcare. Since we were at Legacy Meridian, they were the main sponsor of the evening, so we heard a lot about healthcare problems in the state. And then I attended tonight's meeting. Topics to be raised by commissioners. Do we have any topics to be raised? Seen any? So we will move to the public comment section. Public comment time is set aside for persons wishing to address the board on items on the consent agenda and matters not on the agenda. Additional public comment will be invited on agenda items as they are presented. Do we have any persons who would like to comment?
Not seeing any.
Oh, we have someone.
I had one question.
Paul was. I didn't see you. Sorry.
I just had a question on Justin's presentation when you were talking about people looking at water quality in the surveys. Do you have a way of knowing if they were looking at fluoridation rates in our water and if it might be related to some of the press around fluoride in the drinking water? That's just curiosity.
I don't have the information available right now, but we would be able to dive through the Google Analytics and see what, if there are any trends in traffic on our fluoride pages. Typically what we see is more related to potentials for water being discolored or other adverse effects, maybe due to flushing or system changes and manipulations in the water system. But I could get that data for you.
Okay. Are there any comments online? Anybody?
I'm not seeing any online.
Okay, wonderful. So then we will move on to the consent agenda. No. Well, I have to read the what's written first.
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered if I have to read it first.
Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and may be enacted in one motion without separate discussion. Any board members may request that an item be removed by motion for discussion and separate action. Any items requested to be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion will be considered immediately after the board has approved those items which do not require discussion. So do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move I move.
I second.
Well, okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda approved. Now move on to our business agenda. Hear from Justin Carlton on the annual system development charges update.
President Fisher and commissioners, since we've got just one business agenda item tonight, it's kind of an annual housekeeping item. I asked Dave if he's got a presentation he's ready to do afterwards, and he's ready to go. So good news, we'll get out of here just right about 8:30. All kidding aside, tonight I'm bringing forth the update of our system development charges using the annual inflationary adjustment process that is outlined in our ordinance. So we'll talk about the SDC process for adjustments, history of those adjustments, and then the proposed adjustments, and then provide some comparison data for how those are impacting total SDCs, as well as how we look compared to some of our partners in the region. So the SDC ordinance was enacted back in August 17 of 2012. It does require the district to review the system development charges on an annual basis. It outlines a process where we use a index from the engineering news construction, the construction cost index for the Seattle region. So there is no Portland region, so we picked the Seattle one because it's the closest one we have. And that does comply with Oregon law for agencies like ours using system development charges. You can see kind of where this has gone over time. Over the last 10 years, we started out around $6,000 and where we've trended up to just slightly over $10,000 at this point. The index increase amount that we're proposing is 4.49%. So that was the December 2024 through December 2023 adjustment value. Looking at our different meter sizes that we have that apply, which the most common one is a 5/8 by 3/4 inch meter. So the top one there, you can see that the existing charge going from a little over $9,700 to the new rate of $10,192, so a change of $438. If you did the math, it'll come out to 4.49%. For meters larger than the 1.5 inch, or the ones that were presented in the prior chart, we use a equivalent residential unit calculation. So there's two components to that, the peak day and the storage element. And you can see it comes out to the 10,192, which would be equivalent of our 5/8 by 3/4 inch meter. So based on the water usage that's being proposed for a meter above 1.5 inches, we calculate the equivalent number of residential units and apply the fee accordingly. As compared to some of our neighbors, you can see we're, with the proposed increase, we're kind of right in the middle there. And as it relates to other system development charges for a home, which would total, for a new home, it would total $41,621. Our portion of that representing the 10,192. So we're just about 25%-ish of a new home cost. Staff is recommending that the board adopt resolution 0325, a resolution amending system development charges for the Tualatin Valley Water District and declaring an effective date. And with that, I'm happy to, oh, that's the wrong side. There's a question slide out there. Yeah. Answer any questions or allow for any comments.
If I ask a question, will it keep Dave off the DS?
Zone 2.
So if you go backwards to that graph, the timeline chart, and there's a red line on there. What is the increase rate that red line represents?
That is a question that I don't have the answer to off the top of my head.
But at the bottom where it says no, it says 4.49 from December 23 to 24. So that is if I count from the rightmost end, the third and second closest dot. So it's almost flat from 23 to 24, and then it tilts up again from 24 to 25. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, there was a
Repeat that,
there
kind
was
of
a
that
very
flatter
small
poke.
increase last year. In fact, we were all kind of doing a double take when we saw the number. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was irregular compared to what we've seen historically. And then this year it appeared to kind of normalize to what we've seen over the trend.
The trend is about 4.5%. You can kind of look, if you look at the line that goes through the red line pretty much is close to both those last two entries. So
I have a follow-up to that, and I'm glad you brought that slide back up because the Engineering News Record construction cost index for Seattle has been historically used by us and a number of our neighbors. Prior to the start of this graph, I think it was probably around 08, 09, maybe a little bit before that, there was dissatisfaction among certain of our neighbors using the ENR continually and relying on it and thinking that it isn't reflecting our local condition. There was discussion of a couple of engineering departments that they might run bid tabs and look at construction costs over a couple of years on very apples to apples type projects and see if they could get something that would be more in line with the Portland area. Did anything come of that besides just grousing and saying this is something that we should do because Seattle there was more inflation seen locally, at least it was thought, than what ENR was coming up for Seattle?
That's a really good question, Commissioner. And throughout the 15 years I've been involved with this, every once in a while, you'll see some extreme variation compared to local. Like last year was a really good example. We looked at the number and we're like, well, that doesn't feel like what we're experiencing locally. And then we've seen other years also where the numbers, significantly higher and causes a lot of consternation among the home builders and the community. And so that conversation kind of pops up periodically. Over time, it's as you can see, just in the last 10 years, it's been pretty smooth and consistent. And so I haven't heard a lot about using other indexes or methodologies for a while. My guess is we'll see another swing at some point, and that conversation will start up again. But in the looking back over the last 10 years, we see pretty stable increases, and I think stability is something that the Home Builders Association likes, and I think generally speaking, it's an easy thing to communicate.
Thank you. I just remember all the discussion saying, well, it's a construction cost index. It's not waterline construction, or it's not local municipal improvement construction costs. And well, I just hope ENR continues to do what they're doing and they're not going the way of some other publications that seem to be disappearing because, a whole lot of people use that construction cost index for like what we're using it tonight. So thank you.
Michelle,
So not applicable to this year, looking ahead, given the magnitude of the investment that the WWSP represents to the system, are we thinking about revisiting the methodology once all of those allocations have occurred and kind of versus sticking to a defined index that meets?
So a couple of things that will need to occur post 2026. And so one of them is a system development charge study. And so that's something that's been in our queue for a while, but we really need to be past 2026. We need to know what our cost of water is for the customers and have the data to be able to support those things. And so, it's going to be a few years out once we've changed the systems where we're able to go through and actually do the analysis. And we'll get some help in that process. We also need to do the same thing with our water rates. So we'll be doing a water rate study. That's not being proposed this biennium. But there's a lot of things that we've known will need refinement. But we just need to be having the data to support what those changes are going to be under the new conditions. So we're just using the methodologies that we've historically used, and to my earlier point, maintaining that stability.
Perfect. Thank you.
Go to the slide with the other jurisdictions listed. Thank you. I was wondering, is Westland still paying for a major project, or I'm wondering why they're on the left-hand side of that graph?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer to. So are you referring to the water treatment plant expansion, or?
Yeah, well, or they weren't involved with the.
Yeah, so the
No.
treatment plant's in Westland, but yeah, it's not,
Okay, I keep forgetting. Yeah, I just am wondering, they must have a pretty robust capital improvement program there.
Well, can I maybe address it? Westland has historically had very high SKCs. And I wouldn't characterize it too much, but I don't think that they've done much to encourage growth within their jurisdiction.
That's a very, very useful graph to look at. Thank you.
questions. I think the key to keeping Dave off the stand is getting a lot of engagement. So thank you for the lively discussion.
No more questions. Do I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 325, a resolution amending system development charges for the Tualatin Valley Water District and declaring an effective date?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No opposed? The motion passes. And we are now adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
So good job.